Hi, I'm Dan King from Insurance Data Lab, and I'm here at the BIBA conference with Rachel Longbottom from Bravo Networks to talk about the challenges brokers are facing with business placement. So thanks for joining me, Rachel.
No, thank you for having us.
So to start, what are the biggest challenges for brokers when placing business?
So I think one of the biggest challenges at the moment with, you probably hear this quite a lot, is service.
Yeah.
And it's also understanding, if they're going to go out to a different MGA or away from maybe a partner broker in the Bravo world, why are they doing that? And usually it is because of service is coming back down to it, and it's for the client. The client at the end of the day is why we're all here. So the challenges that they're facing really at that point is, am I going to get the right client outcome at the right speed, and also most importantly obviously with the right cover for the client when they come back to it.
And so have you found that service levels have deteriorated in recent times?
I don't think they've deteriorated necessarily. I think they're changed, and I think the industry's changed. So we go back to pre-pandemic, and pre-pandemic it was very much we were all in an office. Brokers are in offices. Our insurers are doing much more of a hybrid model, which is fine. It's the future, and I'm a big advocate for that. But I think it's how do we adapt to service in a slightly different way and understand how either technology can help us. Is it that we need to speak to somebody? Is it that we need to find better ways of speaking to people? Do we hide behind emails or chats and things like that? Or can we use chat for good, and then can we take it from being like a chat to phone calls really quickly? And the transition between the three elements of communication is really, really important.
Okay, thanks. And with Consumer Duty, that's brought in some big changes.
It has.
With requirements around customer outcomes and fair value. How has this impacted your broker's business placement strategy?
So I think it certainly gives them a view of how many agencies have they got, because naturally if they're managing hundreds and hundreds of agencies and they might have a very small amount of business in a certain area, they've still got to do a fair value assessment. It's the right thing, it's right for the client. But what it is doing, I think, is it's making them think about things in a bit more of a strategic view and thinking about their placement strategy, which again is an FCA requirement and links beautifully into Consumer Duty. So how do they do that? And then at Bravo we've done a really nice play on that by launching our own Bravo Insights tool. And what that does is it's appetite matching. So it enables a broker to look at their renewal book and then look at their placement strategy with our strategic partner insurers, and on the back of that be able to see where they can maybe move some of that business into a partner and a composite market as well. So a nice play.
Excellent. So what kind of metrics do you look at there?
So metric wise we're looking at, so it's a full sort of first layer of appetite match, and then we're letting the broker choose. So what we've done is we've partnered with our strategic partner insurers, we've loaded in the appetite match, we take the data from our members, we overlay the two, and then we allow members to then pick and choose, and they can select, these are the three partner insurers I want to work with, and at that point it'll then go through products, by renewal date, product lines in there, and then it'll show a percentage of whether it's going to be a 100% through, and actually you should either do that on E-Trade or you should manually speak to them, or it might be on the edges, and therefore think about that as a bit differently. It's a RAG status at the end of the day, and it's a percentage of how much they can get into a partner market to help them just with navigating Consumer Duty and fair value, reduce the agencies, still having a really clear placement strategy and a well documented one as well.
Oh, interesting. That must be a real help for the smaller brokers particularly.
It is. I think it gives them a really clear view of where their business is, and I think it's not just about moving business, but it's about them being able to sit back and analyse that with our dashboards and say, okay, I know where my business is and I know how I'm looking after my clients and with what markets, and therefore be kind of really thought-provoking in that space.
Yeah, great, okay. And in terms of your network,
yep.
How has Consumer Duty affected you guys?
So Consumer Duty has affected us. We certainly have our compliance team. So the compliance team has seen a huge increase in queries. Naturally, I think they went up by sort of 40-50% in the past 12 months. We've onboarded more compliance consultants to help with that. And actually what it's about is it's saying to a broker, and this is really important for us, is our brokers are at different life cycle stages. Some of them are startup and some of them may be a bit more established. How do we actually take ourselves through that and say, this is what it means to you as a broker in your position right now today, and this is how you can navigate that. So our compliance team have produced a whole host of webinars and templates, toolkits, visits, help desk, to help brokers navigate the FCA regulations, particularly around Consumer Duty.
Okay, interesting. And talking about the regulator, the FCA is clearly becoming more and more active.
Yep.
How's the network dealing with the increased workload that comes from that?
Yeah, so there is an increased workload, and compliance, takes a precedent. And I think it's been reported about how many hours it does take for a broker to navigate some of the regulation. It's about doing it in the right way. So it's about saying, how do you not just have it as a side of the desk, but you have it as a full embedded part of your business and part of your business strategy. So again, the network has taken on the compliance team. We've then adopted it all the way through the rest of our services. So we have 9 services from client money, HR, system support, L&D, everybody else. How do we embed that through the culture of everything that we do, rather than just focusing and saying it's compliance and that's the siloed part, which is really, really important. So we've thought about it much more as this can go across the whole business, rather than just leave it to the experts in the corner. How do we get everybody to digest that into their business? And in turn, that helps our brokers, because they're thinking in that way as well, which is really, really nice.
Yeah. Brilliant, thank you.
No worries,
Great talking to you, Rachel.
Likewise,
thanks
so much.
Cheers.
Take it easy. Cheers.